Renutai.
Namaskar.
Nam- okay, Namaskar, Renutai and audience. Good morning here in USA and good evening in India. Thank you for joining on Zoom and Facebook Live, Setu International monthly webinar. I'm so excited to present Project Samvad, authors around the world by Renutai Gavaskar. She's going to talk about on this special occasion, centenary event of Satyajit Ray, our well-known Indian filmmaker, author, and very talented. Just last year had 100 years, meaning one century. And so his guru, Rabindranath Tagore. And we are very lucky to have Renutai Gavaskar as our speaker. So before we delve into the webinar, let me tell you about the Setu International Foundation. So we founded this organization, International Foundation in USA last year, with the goal to bridge the divide by providing socio-emotional, educational, and technological resources to underserved community. And we hope to achieve this through educational webinar on topics such as what we have done is self-care, mindful meditation. We also provide Kavita Vyas mentorship program in which we attach one mentor to a child. And also we have empowerment projects. So it's a three-pronged approach. Empowerment project, we provide custom-based approach to the family so that they can self-sustain and be self-sufficient in their own life and be a productive part of the society. Before we start the webinar, here are some housekeeping rules. Please stay mute. We do want to hear what we would love to eat your idli and what is going on in your kitchen. We'd love to hear you. But really, unless you send everybody on this webinar your idli, you cannot, we don't want to hear it just now. So please stay muted and so it does not disturb other audience. And question and answer session will be at the end. So if you have any questions during the session, please write your questions in the chat. We will ask those questions to Renutai at the end of our webinar. And also to get more update about our Setu International webinar from our, please join our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel. So you can know what we are doing. And we do try to intend to bring excited topic, different speakers from different areas. And if you have any suggestion also, please let us know. So our community, our communication director, Chinmay Kulkarni, will introduce our esteemed guest and speaker, Renutai Gavaskar. Chinmay.
Hi, everybody. So as Mrinalini Mashi said, my name is Chinmay Kulkarni. I work with Setu as head of outreach. And it's my pleasure this morning to introduce you guys to our esteemed speaker, Renutai Gavaskar. So Renutai has had a long and prolific career in social work in India over the last 35 years. She founded Ekalavya Children Education and Health Nyasa in Pune for the all-round development of children in marginalized societies there. It is her sensitive and intelligent mind that first drew her into the field of community work and service, which is now her life. Renutai is the author of 7 books, and her book, Nishabda Zunza, won the Maharashtra government's award in 2007. Additionally, her impactful social work has been honored by 6 prestigious awards, including the Maharashtra government Ahilya Devi Award. I'm very excited to hear your perspective on these 2 great Indian artists and writers, Renutai. So please take it away. And thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Chinmay. And now shall we start?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
In the first place, I thank you all for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to speak on Rabindranath Tagore and Satyajit Ray, who I consider as educational gurus and everything to me. They have done such a great job for not only for Indians, but it's global for the world to explain. I know that it's a very challenging job to speak on these great personalities, but I'll do my bit, and I hope that you will appreciate the content. Let's begin by the lines written by Rabindranath Tagore for the great personality Satyajit Ray. This year, 2nd May 1921, Satyajit Ray was born, and this year, 2nd May 2001, the birth centenary year of Satyajit Ray. Years ago, when Satyajit Ray was just 10 years old, his mother Suprabha took him to Rabindranath Tagore. There was an age difference of almost 60 years. When Rabindranath was 8, the boy was 20, and when they first met, the difference, he was 70, Gurudev was 70, and Satyajit was 10. At that time, Prabha's mother took him to Shantiniketan, where Gurudev used to stay. She had presented Satyajit with a Swakshari book, a signature book. Satyajit, as he was fondly called as Manik, wanted the first signature to be Rabindranath Tagore's. When they approached Gurudev, as he is fondly called, not only in India,
Renutai, I think there's some connectivity issue.
Yeah, looks like Renutai actually, she's
Yeah.
in the meeting, but
he
we
had
can't
not
see
only
her.
signed, he had not only signed, but is there any disturbance? He had not only signed.
Renutai,
Go ahead.
तुमच्या ह्याच्यावर असं मेसेज येतोय, इट्स सेइंग दॅट युअर बँडविड्थ इज लो. त्यामुळे मध्ये मध्ये वी आर देयर इज अ डिस्टर्बन्स इन द व्हिडिओ अँड ऑडिओ समटाइम्स.
आता बघा, आता येतोय नीट?
आता येतोय. येस.
आता येतोय का? अजूनही डिस्टर्बन्स?
नाही, आता येतोय.
Gurudev had not only signed the signature book, but he had written some beautiful lines. I'll read out to you the lines. Gurudev had written, "It took me many days and it took me many miles. I spent a great fortune and traveled far and wide to look at all the mountains and all the oceans too. Yet I did not see 2 steps away from home, lying on the single stalk of rice, single drop of dew. A single drop of dew contains the whole sea." I'll repeat the lines again. It took me many days and it took me many miles. I spent a great fortune, traveled far and wide, and to see all the mountains and to see all the oceans too. Yet I did not see 2 steps away from home, lying on the single stalk of rice, a single drop of dew. He gave the notebook to the 10-year-old. Manik opened the book, read it. He was too young to understand the meaning. The meaning was, a single drop of dew contains the whole sea. Later on, after 50 years almost, Satyajit Ray said, that it's the typical Indian way of thinking. A single drop contains the whole Sindhu, the whole sea. Satyajit Ray kept the signature book wherever he used to open the diary, read those lines, and was inspired by those lines. 50 years, he said that the whole process, my whole journey of filmmaking was guided by these words. But there is a story behind. When Satyajit Ray's family, Satyajit, when he was born, Sukumar Ray was his father, and he died when he was just 2.5 years old. Satyajit was born, and when he was 2.5 years, 1923, the year was 1923, and Sukumar Ray was infected with a very, very incurable disease, which was called Kala Azar, black fever. And at that time, no medicines were available. And when he was just 2.5, Sukumar Ray died. Satyajit Ray's grandfather, Upendra Kishore Ray, then Sukumar Ray, and then Satyajit. Suprabha looked after him, and he grew up. When he was 20, he took an admission in Shantiniketan, stayed there for some time. But after the demise of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, he felt that he could not stay there anymore. Also, the financial difficulties, he had to look after the household. Suprabha was all alone, and he had to come back. He came back and started working as a chitrakar, as an artist. I will narrate the whole story, or I will narrate the whole journey of Satyajit and Rabindranath through the medium of stories they have written. Many years ago, I was attracted. I was in the world of juvenile delinquents, and I was finding out, I was searching for an effective way of educating the children. I had no degree. I had done my post-graduation in philosophy, and was trying every source that would guide me, that would tell me how to go about it. I was in the world of deprived children. Many were dropouts from the school. Many did not know what the school meant to them. And I was searching. The search was going on at that time. Somebody told me to go to Shantiniketan and stay there for a while. I went to Shantiniketan, which is near Calcutta, near a small town, Bolpur. I stayed there for some time, and I was deeply inspired by the environment. Shantiniketan, if I request you all that if you have not visited, please. It is said that it is not the same anymore now, but yet Rabindranath, when he established the school Shantiniketan in 1901, he made it a point that no child will be bitten, no abusive words would be uttered, and complete independence, complete freedom. Gurudev always said that complete freedom of mind, where the head is held high and the mind is without fear. Where the head is held high and the mind is without fear, there lies the education system of my country. The principle underlying the education was, Rabindranath always felt that whenever you want to give something, whatever you want to give it in full. He has written a beautiful poem in Gita, as Gitanjali contains it. There is a girl who is watching a prince going by. There is a procession, and she's an ordinary girl looking from a window to the prince. She is so enamored, so enchanted, and so fascinated by the prince, by the mere sight of him, that there is an inner wish to give him something. And what could she give to the prince? So there is a garland, there is a mala, a pearl garland in her neck and with her, and she took it out and threw it to the prince. The only possession she had. She had a necklace made of pearls, and she threw it to the prince. She hoped to reach the necklace to the king, the prince, but unfortunately, the necklace never reached the prince. There was such a rush, and the words were crushed. But the girl was not sorry for that. She felt that I had the best necklace of the world with me, and I have given it to the prince. The same feeling Gurudev had throughout his life with. He always felt that if I want to give something, I give me whatever is best. So many of his stories, Kahini is the special part where he has written many stories, Rabindranath Tagore, and one of the stories has a resemblance, has a similarity with what he has written here. As the girl gave the necklace to the prince, which never reached him, but the girl was not unhappy. She was not sad that her necklace was crushed. She felt that whatever was best with me, whatever I could give it to the prince, I gave. Katha or Kahini, Katha and Kahani are the two types of literature Rabindranath produced. In that, a story he has written about Buddha himself. Once, Buddha wanted to build Vihar, as a place for the monks to stay. So many people donated so many things, money and jewelry and everything. But somehow Gautam Buddha was not satisfied. All the donations did not mean anything to him. The disciples were confused that so many things were coming, but Gautam Buddha was not happy, was not satisfied. But once they came across a lady who used to beg on the streets. When she saw the disciples, she asked them, "What are you wandering for? What are you asking for?" And they said that Buddha the Great is not satisfied with any of the donations he is receiving so far. He wants to build Vihar for the monks to stay. And then suddenly she ran and she hid herself behind a tree, took out the only vastra, took out the only sari she was wearing, became completely without clothes and threw it to the disciples. When the disciples took the sari, a torn one, very old one, to Buddha, Buddha was overjoyed and said, "Now I received what I wanted." When the disciples asked for an explanation, Buddha said that you must have the capacity to give whatever you have. People give me the jewelry, people give me the money, people give me many of the commodities that they have, but they preserve some of them for themselves. If you give everything, whatever you have, and left with nothing, that is a real giving. Rabindranath Tagore was always impressed by such ideas. In that sense, he was really a Vishwamanav, a global personality, and he always preached in Tagore's life. It was meant to be 60 minutes, 1 hour. It was an impossible task for Satyajit Ray, because Rabindranath Tagore's life, Gurudev's life is so vast, so great, touching so many areas of life, that 60 minutes were too less, yet he agreed. But a new point came out. Somebody said that Rabindranath is, but he's not an historian. He doesn't know how to study history. But then the then Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, intervened. He said, we don't need historians, we need an artist, because some of the movies he had seen made by Satyajit Ray, and then exceptional. It won, the documentary won the Rashtrapati Gold Medal, and Locarno Film Festival, it received an award. It was much appreciated, admired. And in that, he only adhered to one principle. Satyajit Ray adhered to one principle. No personal details will be discussed in a document. Mukherjee was such beautiful documentary. The documentary was named as The Inner Eye. Vinod Behari Mukherjee, that I see the peculiarity of Satyajit Ray's personalities. He had great respect for his gurus and was very lucky in Shantiniketan to receive so many gurus who were very much talented. Vinod Behari Mukherjee, as a child, he had weak eyesight, but very fond of reading. He was a very fine artist. He came to Shantiniketan and he studied Japanese art, Western art, and Indian art. And he saw a gem when he went to Japan, and when he studied the international art, he became totally blind. But that did not deter him from doing anything, going ahead with his art. And then he became the art faculty, head of the art faculty at Shantiniketan. Then Satyajit Ray felt that as a documentary was done on Rabindranath, so the documentary must be made on Vinod Behari Mukherjee, that he used to do murals in spite of being the fact that he was totally blind. And so the documentary is named as The Inner Eye. What an apt name. Vinod Behari Mukherjee, at the end of the documentary, has said that total blindness is a new feeling, is a new experience, a new state of being. When we study Satyajit Ray, we must see at least one or two documentaries made by him. He has made altogether, I think, 10 documentaries, but Rabindranath Tagore's documentary, Vinod Behari Mukherjee's documentary, made of Vinod Behari Mukherjee, and the last but not the least is Sukumar Ray, his own father. Satyajit Ray lost his father when he was just 2.5, as I have mentioned earlier. He had very vague memories of his father. And when he was asked by Buddhadev Bhattacharya, the then CM of West Bengal, to make a documentary on his father, he was very happy and delighted. Sukumar Ray was an exceptional personality. Rabindranath Tagore has written volumes about Sukumar Ray. Whenever we study Rabindranath or Satyajit Ray, we must study the family background of the two. There were great people in the family. Sukumar Ray was an exceptional person. Rabindranath has written that I have never seen a death like Sukumar Ray. When he was dying, he was singing the songs of life. When the young person was dying, he died at the age of 35. When he was dying, he was singing the songs of life, and he passed away. When I was sitting by his side, Gurudev writes, when I was sitting by his side, I could hear the songs of life sung by him without words. My heart is full of love for him. He made the documentary, Satyajit Ray made of his father, and there were so many aspects he presented. It again became the best of the documentary. I must say one or two things about Satyajit Ray's childhood. When Satyajit Ray was very small, young, he was called, as I have already said, that in Bengal, The child is not named immediately after he is born, but he is called by a pet name. So Manik was his pet name. When he was very young, Vijaya, who later became his wife, they were cousins. And an aunt said that there will be a competition of drawing. Both of them. I think Vijaya was just 10 years and Satyajit was 6 or 7 years old. There was a difference of 4 to 5 years. Vijaya was elder to him. And they were asked to draw a picture of a girl who was feeding something to a bird who is in cage. Both of them were very good artists, and Satyajit Ray later proved it. Before his films came into being, he used to make all the sketches of the characters who he used to put into the movie. So they were children, they were asked to draw a picture of a girl wearing a red frock and feeding something to the bird in the cage. Vijaya was so confident about herself, she being the elder than Manik. Also, she was so confident of her art that she was sure that she is going to win the prize. The results were out and Satyajit won the prize. Vijaya was in tears. She has written all these memories of her husband in a book called Memoirs. In that she writes that I was full of tears. I could not understand the picture of the pictures. Mine was definitely, but my aunt said that look at the picture. You have used the eraser so many times, but Manik has not even once. Not even once he has used the eraser. He is so confident about the lines that he draws. It's a great lesson. It was a great lesson, not for Vijaya, but to people who have read this book. Not even once the young 6-7 years old boy required eraser. He was so confident about his lines. He was so confident about his pictures. And he was so confident about himself. There lies the signs of greatness that he would exhibit to the world later on. What I liked about so many movies as a director, as an artist, so many qualities were shown to the world, were seen by the world. But a small movie, he was requested to create a movie by Doordarshan, a movie in English, in Bengali, in Marathi, so many languages. But he refused everything. And he said that I will create a movie which is absolutely silent. Many a times Satyajit Ray has said that you don't require words to say what you want to convey. It's a 16, the two, the name of the movie, the name of a short film rather, is called as TWO. And it's a silent movie and it goes on, it runs for 16 minutes. It's a story Manik has written, Satyajit Ray, the greatest director. It's a story about the two boys. One boy is very rich, affluent, stays in a big house. For some work, his parents leave him for some time. They go away. The car goes away and the boy is in the balcony, sees his parents going away. When he is in the room, all alone, all by himself, he sees so many toys around him. He starts playing with them. And while playing, he comes into the balcony to see what is happening there. Ending house seems to be very poor. He's wearing just a short and nothing else. A very poor boy. This affluent, rich boy with with an elephant, with a monkey, with who raises his trunk, who sings, he sees the boy, not even enough clothes. He just
Renutai,
huh?
Renutai, for the past 2 minutes, because it's a beautiful story and we missed it because there was some disturbance in the audio again. So can I request you to please maybe go a minute back and repeat the story so we won't miss.
Yes. मी तुम्हाला असं विचारते की जी मुलं आता जॉईन झालेली आहेत त्यांना मी काय बोलते हे कळतंय का?
म्हणजे आपल्याला
इंग्लिश त्यांना कळत नाही असं मला वाटतंय. कळतंय का त्यांना, त्या मुलांना?
असू दे, it's okay. What I'm going to request is when we do our storytelling, we'll do it in Marathi because these are such a wonderful stories. We'll do special in Marathi for them.
Yes.
And they should learn, and some words in English will be penetrating them. So let them listen to them because it's very important that they get exposed to variety of culture, variety of languages. And these are so wonderful. So I think one of the bandwidth is a problem. I want you.
I should repeat the story again.
But other option could be if the video is turned off, the audio will be better. But we want your face also, but that is an option. If the video is turned off, then the audio will be good.
मग व्हिडिओ माझ्याकडून करायचा आहे?
म्हणजे काय तुमचा ऑडिओ चांगला येईल. But we do want your expressions actually. We want to look at, but
आता बघा, आता नीट येतंय का?
हो, आता छान येतंय. Let's try this.
Yes, let's try this. So what I was telling you, that he made a film, a silent movie, which ran for 16 minutes without words, and he was very happy about it. He told the producers that no words are necessary in this movie. The movie itself, the boys themselves will convey the whole meaning. A rich boy, from an affluent family, he stays in a big mansion, and for some reasons his parents leave him and he's all alone in the house. Now he's trying to play with various toys that he has with him since there is no one in the house. He has a jumping monkey, he has an elephant who raises his trunk, he has a tiger who roars, he has a parrot who sings, and so many toys. Taking all of them, because he is getting bored in the house, sitting all alone, he comes into the balcony and sees that a very poor boy is standing under the premises of the building. He has not enough clothes on his body. He is wearing a short and he is playing in the dust. The rich boy with great curiosity looks at the other boy. But the other boy is totally inattentive, not attentive. He's playing, he's creating his own toys, and the play there goes on, and the play in the mansion, in the house goes on. Now, suddenly, the poor boy, picks up a torn newspaper and tips it and makes out of that torn newspaper. He prepares a kite for himself. He prepares a kite. He secures a string. He prepares a beautiful kite out of that torn. He's not bothered that what is the quality of the newspaper. He's not bothered about anything. He's a creator of the toy. And soon he gets engrossed with playing with the kite. The rich boy, is looking at all this. And suddenly, anger, a resentment. He has everything ready, but he misses out something of his life. He has got all the toys ready at his service, yet he sees the creator and has the feeling of resentment, anger within himself, and he feels that I am missing out something. He goes inside, picks up an air gun that he has, comes in through the balcony, aims at that boy's kite, and that air gun goes. It is getting, the kite is destroyed within a second. The poor boy looks up. He understands that his dream is shattered. He has no money to buy a kite. He has no money to buy anything. Out of his own endeavor, he has created something, what is lying on the floor, and he was so happy to play with it. And that dream is shattered. He's so disappointed. He's so depressed. But he cannot do anything. He cannot punish the boy who is standing in the balcony and looking at him. He just goes away. The boy, with a triumphant face, comes inside. He sits on his bed and makes all the toys make a noise. He plays all the toys at the same time. He gives key, and yet within a minute or two, he loses all that triumphant look. He's defeated. He's defeated. His shoulders, no more the smart ones. His face loses all the glow that he has, and he sits there, lost and absolutely with a defeated face. And the film ends. Satyajit Ray, with the 16 minutes, has shown us the two worlds, two different worlds, and what they do to each other. This is the film I like the best of Satyajit Ray. This is the film I like the best. But let me go ahead and tell you something, that Satyajit Ray was such a great thinker and so much impressed by Rabindranath Tagore, that Rabindranath Tagore gave a very good story to Prabhat Kumar Mukhopadhyay and told him a story which was converted by Satyajit Ray into a movie which says that we must think rationally and about the plight of the women in India. Devi was, the heroine of the film was Sharmila Tagore, and she has written a beautiful essay on her role in Devi. Devi takes place, it's a joint effort, it's a joint endeavor by great Gurudev and Satyajit Ray. There is a Kali Kinkar, is a zamindar, a rich person in a village, and he is a great admirer, a bhakta, devotee of Kali. Kali is Devi, a goddess who is a creator and a destroyer. He is a widower, 2 sons. One son stays with him, and the other son with in Calcutta for further education. The elder son is married. His Umapa, and his wife's name is Harasundari. Harasundari is a very intelligent daughter-in-law, and she doesn't agree with whatever said by her father-in-law. But she knows one thing, that Kali Kinkar would not listen to anything. He is a very ruled by dogmas, and whatever he feels that whatever is happening in his family is due to Kali, the goddess. Dayamai is the second daughter-in-law, and she doesn't think that much, because in Bengal it was the tradition that you must make your in-laws family happy, and that's the only aim a woman can have. Dayamai, one fine morning, the father-in-law enters her room and just touches her feet, saying that yesterday night he dreamt Kali came into his dream, and she said that the goddess said that I am your daughter-in-law. And from that day onwards, the entire household changes. Dayamai has no other alternative but to play goddess. She's worshipped. She is garlanded, she's worshipped. Uma Prasad, the second son, Dayamai's husband, doesn't agree and he opposes. And so many things happen in that household. She is very fond of her nephew, who is ill with a high fever, but he is not taken to the doctor because Kali, the goddess, in the form of Dayamai, is still there in the house. Nephew dies. Uma Prasad, the husband, tells Dayamai to run away to Calcutta. But Dayamai has no guts. Parampara, tradition, plays such an important role in a woman's life. Devi was much admired, appreciated throughout, not only in India, but all over the world. Many people saw it. And many people, Sharmila Tagore herself had said that Dayam Devi, she played Kali or Dayamai's role. And she said that throughout my life, I had such a great impact. I never knew that such is the impact in a woman's life, that she cannot break the traditions, and therefore she commits suicide in the end. Dayamai commits suicide, and Uma Prasad has lost everything that he has because of the blind faith, because of the superstitions, because of the dogma. Satyajit Ray, along with Rabindranath Tagore, has contributed to such an extent through his movies. We just know Satyajit Ray or Rabindranath Tagore as movie makers or the great directors, but I have always felt that they are the great social reformers of the world. Rabindranath has always said, when there was an earthquake in Bengal, once Gandhiji said, Bapu said, that we have committed many sins, and this calamity, these natural calamities are a fruit which bore to this tree of sins. Rabindranath opposed. He said that such thinking process always binds us to the past. Let us not bind ourselves. Let us free ourselves. Let us think freely. And that's why he has written in one of his essays that whenever somebody calls the Desha Bhakti, love to the country, is the greatest thing, I refuse. I can never relent to this view. I said that the whole world is mine. I am not a citizen of a particular country, but I am a citizen of the world. That's why I think that we have come together, just two parts of the world, and still thinking on the same lines and professing what he has told us. I have experimented many things that Rabindranath has taught me at Shantiniketan. Shantiniketan doesn't contain classrooms. There are no classrooms. Gurudev always used to say that whenever and wherever the child is, he must see sky, he must see trees. He cannot be confined into 4 walls of classroom. I stayed there for many days and I could see what Rabindranath meant. Not only that, he was born, Devendranath was his father's name. And when he was admitted to the school, Gurudev was admitted. Once Harindranath, a teacher, uttered some abusive words and put some slates onto in the tender hands of the child. Devendranath said that where their abusive words are uttered, my son will not go. He took him to Himalayas, where the new principles of education were taught. Devendranath was a Rushitulya person. He was such a great person. Devendranath had a dream that Shantiniketan, and the father were walking. So Devendranath said that there will be this place. The dream came true through the hands of his son. When I came back, I experimented. I would like to narrate one experiment. I went into a corporation school once to tell a story to the children. It was an evening time, and suddenly the electricity went off. There was total darkness, and I didn't see a way out. And suddenly, I remembered a song sung by Rabindranath Tagore. The song said, "Alo amar alo go alo bhubon bhara, alo nayan dhoa amar alo hridoy hara." Alo is prakash, it's light. The light comes, and the light comes into our hearts, into our eyes, everywhere there is light. I sung this song, there was total darkness, and suddenly the children stopped talking. There was no disturbance in the hall. Everybody listened to the song, and there was complete silence. And then the children said that though there was darkness, the song was so beautiful. Alo amar alo go alo bhubon bhara. The entire world is full of light. Alo nayan, the eyes are full of light. Alo nayan dhoma amar alo hridoy hara. The heart is full of light. And the session went on so successfully. Devendranath was a landlord, zamindar, and he asked his son to look after this zamindari. And that gave Rabindranath a golden opportunity to mix with the people. He started mixing with the people. He could know their woes, their agony, their pain, their poverty. He did whatever he could. To alleviate the pain. He started with so many new things so that the income will be increased. We don't know, but Rabindranath later on his life became a homeopath so that so many illness could be cured for the people, by the people, of the people. But when his son in the end asked him that, in the end, what would you like to be known as? The answer was, I would like to be known as a poet and nothing else. In this world, what we see nowadays, publicity and saying so many things about oneself, publicity was shunned. He said that people should know me only as a poet. I am a poet. But Shantiniketan is his creation that has shown light to the world. He has written so many stories. Let me once more story about his educational insight. A girl playing in the courtyard suddenly sees a feather, a small piece म्हणतो पण piece पक्षाचं. She finds it. She picks it up. It's so beautiful. It's black as well as white, both the colors. And she embraces it. She plays with it. And suddenly she has an urge to show it to her mother. She goes to her mother, sits on her lap and says, "Oh, Ma, dekh. Oh, mother, see this." But the mother doesn't understand a bit of it. The elders don't understand what lies in the heart of the child. What is there to see? And she throws it away in the dust. The girl picks it up, wipes it, and keeps it with herself, and then she never tells any of her secrets to her mother. Let us all remember it. Let us all remember the child has so many things in his or her heart. Will let us pay attention to what she or he has to say. Let us remember Satyajit Ray's story too. Let us remember the drawings And what Vijaya has said, and the aunt said, never did Manik use the eraser once. Let us spread, when we hear their stories, let us spread the message of love, the message of affection, the message of service to the mankind. Rabindranath, when there was a Second World War, I'm coming to the end, when there was Second World War, it was 1939. He went to so many countries to dissuade people from entering into warfare, but nobody was willing to listen, to give a ear to what Gurudev was saying. He was a completely dejected person. When he came back, he received a letter from Mahatma Gandhi saying that you have completed 420s, that is 80 years, and all the Indians and all the world wishes that you could complete the fifth one, that is 100 years. Rabindranath, in his as a reply to Mahatma Ji, said that I don't wish to stay in a world where violence is the order of the day, where nobody wishes peace, love, everybody is in a grabbing mood. I don't wish to continue even a day. And so the end came on the day of Naradi Purnima, 1941. He underwent a surgery, but of no use because his mind was not responding. He died at the age of 80. I have always considered Rabindranath Tagore and Satyajit Ray as two of my ideals. I study them as not only Rabindranath Tagore, but I remember a very, very beautiful story written by Satyajit Ray. I was attracted to his personality because when Satyajit Ray was at the helm of the affairs, was at the top of his popularity, he came to know that Sandesh was a magazine run by his grandfather Upendra Kishore Ray and his father Sukumar Ray, who died before his time. When he came to know about it, Sandesh, a great contribution to the literary world by Upendra Kishore, his grandfather, he left all his movie making and revived Sandesh. When I read about this in one of the magazines, I was so attracted to Satyajit Ray, a loving son, a loving grandson. In Sandesh, Satyajit Ray written a story called Atithi. Atithi was made into a movie called Agantuk, and which is the best story, best movie, according to me, Satyajit Ray has made. This is a story. There is in Calcutta, a couple is staying with two children. The girl, the daughter, the elder daughter is studying somewhere else. And the couple with a son, 10 years old. The wife suddenly receives a letter from her mama, from her uncle, maternal uncle, that he will be coming to stay with her for 8 days. Now she doesn't know anything about her mama. She doesn't remember him because he has left the household when she was very young. She heard from her elders that he had become a sannyasi. They are worried that he is coming because they feel that, is he my real mama? They are now suspicious that who is entering their house. The mama came. Mama is played by none other than Utpal Dutt. He stays with them, but the relations are not at all cordial because suspicion is the main thing in their 8 days, in his 8 days stay. But the boy, the little boy, 10 years old, he has no suspicion. He has nothing to worry about. He is attracted to that learned person. He stays with him so happily. But the niece, her mind is full of ashanka. She thinks that he may be cheating her. He is not her real mama. The mama realizes he's a real mama, and he goes away. He philosophizes. He's such a wise person. Satyajit Ray, in his memoirs, has written that mama is myself. I am the mama. I am philosophizing. I am trying to understand, comprehend this world. But what I have realized, the world doesn't trust. It's full of suspicion. We always think negatively in the first place. When he finished, the last shot was taken in Shanti Niketan. And when he finished this, he told Vijaya, his wife, that whatever I had, I had given to the world. Now there is nothing which is left in me. I have nothing to say, anything. Now there is nothing. I have given everything, whatever there is in me. He told Utpal Dutt also that you were acting as a mama, but I could see myself as a mama in the movie. This is the story of Rabindranath Tagore and Satyajit Ray. This is my Adaranjali. I respect them, not only as Indians, but as Vishwamanav. I respect them. And whatever I could say, I have said. Thank you very much once again for giving me this support.
So beautifully.
I'll sing a song. Written by...
Renutai, can you start your video now? We would like to...
मी गाणं रवींद्रनाथांनी लिहिलेलं आणि संगीत दिलेलं. रवींद्रनाथांनी शेवटचं गाणं ते जे काय म्हटलंय, जेव्हा मी म्हंटल की लढाया सुरू झाल्या, महायुद्ध झाली, तेव्हा रवींद्रनाथांनी म्हटलंय, धोनी लो रे म्हणजे ऐकणारे. प्लीज लिसन टू व्हॉट आय एम सेइंग. धोनी लो रे, धोनी लो आव्हान मधुर गंभीर प्रभात अंबर माझे, दिके दिगंतरे भुवन मंदिरे, शांती संगीत बाजे. धोनी लो रे, धोनी लो रे, हैरो गो अंतरे अरूप सुंदरे, निखिल संसारे परम बंधुरे. एषो आनंदितो मिलन गणे, शोभन मंगल साजे. धोनी लो रे, धोनी लो आह्वान मधुर गंभीर प्रभात अंबर माझे, दिके दिगंतरे भुवन मंदिरे, शांति संगीत बाजे. धोनी लो रे, धोनी लो रे.
Wow. Renutai, such a wonderful session. There is so much love and compassion in you. We feel so loved. And this is what these webinars and sessions are about. There is so much love in the world, and there's so much to give to each other. And I mean, so wonderful story.
Both ways, Mrunalini, it's both ways.
So, I mean,
you love me, I love you too.
So many people here. I wish people could listen. I mean, are you going to write a book about all Are you thinking about writing a book?
Yes, yes. I have written things about both of them.
One second thing I would like that I think we need to do this in Marathi or Hindi. Our kids needs to listen to this. English audience, educated
Yes.
audience, but our storytelling once a month that we have going to do it. So any of in the audience wants to, we will give you the link also once we will do it in probably in February. And our kids in some staff would be, I think, will be delighted. This is a rare treat that we should offer. This same event, we will do it in Marathi. So they can listen to all the things that you just said. Such a wealth of information, no abusive words to a child, no fear to that. I mean, I wish all we could go and maybe stay in Shantiniketan. Your Bengali is also very good. And did you learn over there, or you learned?
I learned it afterwards.
Oh, okay. I would like to open this to questions. I think we have a Setu update link, and please join our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channels. If you want to get updates from Setu, we'll send the link in the chat. Please join the link so you will get our webinars and seminars, what we do. And what we do, we want the world to have this wealth of knowledge. I myself felt I want to go and read more work from Satyajit Ray and Rabindranath Tagore. Chinmayi and Swati has a question, I think. Swati, can you hear?
Hi, ma'am.
Yes, hi. Hello.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving, ma'am, such a wonderful talk on Satyajit Ray. But why should one tell story? What stories are important? Why should one tell story?
Why should?
Very good question. Why should one tell stories? What is the importance of stories? So wonderful question.
I'll quote somebody. Albert Einstein has said that if you want your children to be intelligent, please tell them stories. If you want your children to be more and more intelligent, please tell them stories. And if you want your children to be exceptionally intelligent, please tell them more and more and more stories. So the quote of Albert Einstein tells us many things about storytelling. Storytelling enhances the power, enhances the intelligence, the EQ, emotional quotient, like anything. Because we get totally engaged and involved and we listen. That increases this listening power. I have been doing it for the last 35 years of my life. And I feel that every day gives me something more. I listen to the stories, I read stories, I tell stories. And story has become almost my life.
So, yeah, so important. Chinmayi, do you have anything to say? Vandanam? Any questions, anybody?
Oh, yes, I'd like to say something.
Yeah.
So Renutai, you, first of all, thank you so much. This was such a wonderful lecture, and I feel so fortunate to be able to listen to you today. And you mentioned that you used to study philosophy, which I also did. I did my undergraduate in philosophy, and I'm also very interested in teaching children. And that's my hope that that's what I can do someday. So I wanted to know, as someone who has studied philosophy and who works with children, do you think that at such a young age, kids can understand things that I just learned as a 23-year-old woman? Just now, I feel that I'm beginning to understand. But I also feel that Rabindranath Tagore, he was a philosopher of a sort, and his school, I would like to think that that kind of taught the kids there kind of philosophies in life that most people don't learn until much later on. So when you are working with the children that you work with, do you feel that if they're taught about philosophy, they can understand at such a young age?
According to me, the power that the children have, the understanding that the children have, I'll clarify what I say with an example. Once somebody visited our institution, and our children are actually deprived children, used to stay on the roads and everything. And he asked, what's an ego, ahankar? What's it meant by ego, ahankar? Somebody, a visitor. He was a very spiritual person, and suddenly he asked this question. I felt that my children would never, but suddenly one of our children, his name is Anil, he replied, he answered that ahankar is, the ego is feeling that I know something better than the other person. So spontaneous came the answer, ahankar is, I know something better than the other person. And he said that if we come out of this impression, we are ahankarless. We have no ahankar. Then he gave an example. He said that I'm good at drawing, but if I show it too much to others, on the other hand, instead of showing, I must teach them. I must tell other children that, come, I'll teach you how to draw. And then ahankar goes away. And the last sentence that the other boy said was, men should not be women. He has witnessed men beating women. He said that they are ahankari purush, that's why they beat. They should not, he said. So I feel that if somebody would have asked me what is ahankar, in such an easy language, such easy illustration, I would have been unable to answer. But he answered, a 14-year-old answered. So never underestimate a child. The child understands far better than what we do.
Sometimes
we are ahankari feeling that we know much.
Yeah.
So true.
Sometimes the answers to the most complicated questions lie in simplest of the minds.
Yes. Mahatma Gandhi had rightly said that, child, give me your
Renutai, your voice is inaudible again.
show us the direction. Hello, आता येतोय?
Oh,
आता येतोय. Can you repeat, please? Yeah, we lost.
महात्मा गांधींनी म्हटलं होतं की, child, give me your hand so that I may walk in light that you show me.
You show me.
Child shows us the light. Child shows action. What we have to do is, you just walk behind him, behind her. That's all. That's all. He gives us an opportunity to be devoid of ahankar.
I mean, I am so amazed because when I take
opportunity.
So wonderful. That is so true. I so believe in. I'm taking sessions with the children, but they are teaching me so much.
Yes.
They're teaching me life. They're teaching me resilience. They're teaching me so many human emotions. There is so much potential in these children. When I talk to these kids, Srigonda kids from Sanstha, Mahamano Baba Amte Sanstha, some other kids from home, there is so much potential in them, and they are teaching me so much. Please ask if you have any questions. Please let us know.
If there are no other questions, can I ask a question? Devti, are there any question in the chat?
Yeah,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Renutai, when I was listening to your talk, and when I see films made by Satyajit Ray, and read the stories and the telefilms on based on work of Rabindranath Tagore, I always wonder that being men in those times were really, the education for women was also not a common thing. How did
Yes.
these people know the mind, could actually take a peek, not just take a peek, but understand a woman's mind and plight? What was it in them that currently we are lacking, and why can't we produce more of these? So I always get intrigued and interested in the question, how can the society, not we, but how can there be more Rabindranaths and more Satyajit Rays in the society? What did they have that we are currently missing?
Visionary, ahead of their times, and full of love and compassion. Love can do the miracles. What do we teach children? Rabindranath's father was such a great person. He always told his son, never did he punish even him once. And Rabindranath adhered to the same principle in Shantiniketan. Whatever others could do, they have to take their own punishment, but not me punishing you. That's not my area. That's not my right. We take the law in our hand and punish others. There lies the answer. We don't allow the children to become visionaries, to take their own punishment, to look into themselves. नाही, बाहेरून सगळं लादतोय आपण ना. आपण लादतोय, आपण त्याला प्रेमापासून दूर करतोय ना. Love is the word. आणि आपण तो कुठे कन्फाईन, वी हॅव कन्फाईन्ड इट टू वुमन अँड मॅन. लव्ह इज सो बिग. केवढं मोठं आहे ते. कुणावरही प्रेम करा, नाही का? आता आपण एकमेकांवर प्रेम करू शकतो.
अगदी बरोबर आहे.
पण लेबलिंग तुम्हाला डिप्राईव्ह करत असतं. लेबलिंग डिप्राईव्ह करत असतं. जग काय म्हणेल? मला असं आता मृणालिनी वाटतच नाही. मला असं वाटतं मी कोणावरही प्रेम करू शकते. माणसावर मला माझ्या आयुष्यातल्या life experiences have taught me this.
Are there any other questions? I know we have some. Yeah, Trupti, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so Renutai, thank you so much. Wonderful talk, and I almost want to figure out what happened so many years ago, what Rabindranath Tagore was able to do. How can we bring it back now? So each one of us has something we can do, but I think the current school system is going in the opposite direction almost, in my mind. So how can we bring it down to earth, down to the basics? How can that be made part of bringing up children? And I think it may involve something like the parents have a role to play and the school system has a role to play. So I would like to hear your thoughts on what can be
Everybody
done.
has a role to play. Everybody. They are our children, isn't it? They are our children. Rabindranath considered everybody to be his children. We are losing the spirit. Let us embrace the children. They're the treasure of this world. Let us tell them stories of these great personalities. Let them love the world. Today, committing suicide has become so common. Rabindranath always used to say it's the most life gift. Love it. Go with it. I feel so sad when yesterday only, a lady was telling me her 16-year-old son could not take the attention, pressure of the studies because he has to appear for SSC, the final school exam. I was so full of, I was so sad. I asked her, how could such tension pressure be created just to appear for the exam, and he committed suicide. She was crying, she was weeping. I remembered the great poet's word, life is the most precious gift. I remembered Satyajit Ray's way, the life comes only once. Please don't waste it. Do something about it. Do something about the life life itself, not the achievements, the life itself. But have we told this to our children? Have we conveyed the message? Or have we put them in a trap of competition? Have we put them into a trap of marks? Have we put them into a trap of tulana, comparison? What I feel that it's a gift of God. Accept it. Accept the child as he has or she has come to us. Enjoy every bit. Don't compare. Don't. The main reason for is the comparison. We feel sad about the marks, about the achievements. I always feel that accept them with open hands and half the hazards will vanish. Isn't it? Isn't it?
Yes, so true. I think there is.
जसं आहे तसं स्वीकारा ना.
हो, बरोबर आहे. अगदी बरोबर.
होय की नाही? देवा एक एवढी मोठी गिफ्ट. मला तर नेहमी वाटतं की पेरेंट होणं हे केवढं मोठं आहे हो. म्हणजे मला आता सुद्धा मी आजी आहे ना, तर मला ते इतकं ग्रेट वाटतं की बापरे, आजी असणं म्हणजे काय आहे. इट्स फुल ऑफ फ्लावर्स माय लाईफ. आता आम्ही जयपूरला गेलो होतो मृणालिनी, आम्ही सगळ्या मोठ्या होतो 5 जणी आणि माझी नात होती आमच्या बरोबर, ग्रँड डॉटर. इतकी मजा यायची कारण चाइल्ड लाईक बिहेवियर नाही तर आपण सगळे म्हातारे होऊन जातो. द ओनली रेमेडी इज चाइल्ड.
I think there is so many great things going on in the world. We don't need to wait for Rabindranath Tagore to be reborn, Satyajit Ray to be reborn. There are Satyajit Ray right now growing up. There are Rabindranath Tagore right now growing up in the world and the universe. Let's harvest them.
आणि आपण नाही आहोत का त्याचं?
Exactly. Yes. There is a power in each one of us. Yes, there is a power in each one of us. We have
Rabindranath's stories are timeless. I mean, it is just amazing when you watch those, written over 100 years ago, and those still apply in the current world. It's just timeless literature.
So many. I think we will have last 10 minutes. If anybody, Himanshu, you have a question. Anybody else has any questions, please. We'll have last 10 minutes. There is one Zoom user. I don't know who that is, but they have one question also. So Himanshu and then one.
I have one question.
Okay.
For Renutai.
Yeah.
Anuradha.
Okay, go ahead, Anuradha.
Go ahead.
नमस्कार रेणुताई.
नमस्कार.
खूप छान वाटलं. I want to know how much time you give for reading, because your word power, your knowledge and hold over the stories. When you pressurize some words, you stop somewhere. That storytelling is very wonderful, what you are telling through your words. I just literally went to Shantiniketan along with you, and your knowledge of Bangla also is very good, because we can sing in our own language, but it is very difficult to sing in a different language which is not routinely used by us. So that Bangla song you really sung very well, and with the same rhythm what Shantiniketan rhythm we say, that was perfectly brought through your songs. And how much time you give for your reading?
Reading is
how much time?
Reading is my life. Reading is my passion. Reading is everything to me. Reading and writing, really my life. If I don't read, I feel my day is wasted. If I don't write, I feel my day is wasted. If I see a book, Anuradha, if I see a book, I'm fascinated. I'm enchanted. I feel attracted. Wherever I go, I see if there is a book. There is a story about Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Once he could not see for some time, there was an ailment, and he asked again and again his doctor that would I be able to read after this? So the doctor said, why do you worry so much? So he said, there is nothing in the world except reading. Whenever I
Oh, I
read
see.
about this, I always feel that there is nothing else in the world but reading. But
So,
reading is
so true.
such beautiful experience, yourself and your book that you are holding in your hands.
Now these children, these our school children, what you want to tell them, what they should read and how much they should read through your experience, because you might have read so many books in these many years, because you are a good storyteller. This is second time I am listening to you. So what these children should read? Maybe school going, college going.
I feel that one should read. I'm very insistent about it, that they should read. But moreover, what I would tell them is, books make you able to read other people's lives also. Books make you sensitive about other people's lives, their woes, their miseries, their worries. Books between the lines enable you to do so many things. So please read. Please read.
Okay.
Renutai, my Mazi Baba, my dad is also here, and he's a great fan and admirer of Rabindranath Tagore from his young age. He's 91 years old, and he wanted to say a poem that he appreciates of Rabindranath Tagore, and wanted to say hello to you also. Go ahead, Baba.
Namaste.
Namaste, Tai.
Namaste.
Thou hast made me endless. Such is thy pleasure. At the immortal touch of thy hand, my heart loses its joy and limits beyond words ineffable. It quickens our blood and brightens our smiles, which would snatch kisses if we delay. Trust love, even if it brings sorrow. Thank you.
शेवटची लाईन काय होती?
Trust love, even if it brings sorrow.
Yeah. गीतांजली
गीतांजली म्हणलं बघा.
जीवनाचं सगळं तत्वज्ञान आहे याच्यात.
हो, मला फार आवडतं हे वाक्य.
Trust love. Trust love. Let us love.
That's true. Yeah, I think that's such a powerful. I think, let's end that such a powerful.
With this line. Let us end this.
It's very powerful. Very, very powerful. Thank you so much, everybody. And please, if you want to get update, please visit our Facebook and WhatsApp link. And thank you, everybody. And our team and Renutai's team, Eklavya NASA, and our team, Chinmay, Vandana, Ajay Kumar, Himanshu, Devaki, Indrayani. And I think is that your granddaughter there?
Yes.
Yeah,
very good. It's your helper. Tiny. Very good. What's her name?
Kali.
Kali. Are ba? That's a bird. Huh? Kali manje ba.
Yes.
It's a very beautiful name. Everybody, and Facebook Live also. Thank you so much for joining. And I think we will have a similar session for kids. Same thing in Marathi.
In Marathi.
Yes,
I promise. That's my promise for kids.
Yes. So and we will give the invite if anybody wants to join in Marathi. मुलांना वाचणं फार महत्वाचं आहे. So let's read and let's spread some love. Thank you so much, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Good day.
Good night.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good night.
Good night. Good morning.
Good morning.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.